Hello, hello, hello. I believe we are live. At least I think so. This is Giovanni. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. I've been having trouble with the connection, so I've been kind of testing it out, but it keeps dying on me. So the connection might fall or might end at one point, just so you guys know. But we're going to try to do this stream that I wanted to do tonight, which is the Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler review. I am Giovanni, like I said earlier, and this is my little brother, Matthew.
Hello.
Okay, so again, hopefully the connection doesn't die in the middle of this, and then hopefully the mic, hopefully you can hear me just fine. Matthew, say something, see if we can kind of hear you.
Hello, can I be heard?
Okay. All right. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it here. Hopefully, someone lets me know that if the internet connection died. I'm trying this again outside. If this thing dies again, I'm probably gonna have to stop doing these stream outside. But we'll see what happens. All right. So I have two little cameras here: the face cam here, and then the regular camera, which we're going back to this back and forth. Okay, so this is the Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler review. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So we just saw the movie earlier today. Came out today, November 11th, 2022. And what I like to do in reviews, I like to, divide them, separate them, the positives, the negatives, and so on. And that's what we're going to do here. But before we do that, so as a lot of you guys know, I do a lot of giveaways, Funko Pops. I usually like to give a lot of Funko Pops. A lot of people like them. They're usually related to movie stuff or TV stuff. So that's why I like giving those away, because it's related to what we talk about on this channel. So the latest Funko Pop giveaway is this Namor or Namor Funko Pop giveaway. This is the MCU version. I've given one away before, but that's the original version of Namor. This is the one that's very perfect for this stream. That's why I picked this one. Namor. This is going to be the Funko Pop giveaway. There are some details. I was trying to add the details in the description of this video, but I don't know if it's Streamlabs or YouTube that was just not letting me do that, so I'm going to have to change that later. But the Instagram page does have those details. Must be a subscriber or to this channel or a follower of the Instagram page, and you must have a mailing address within the United States. Now, if you're following or at least trying to watch the stream, hopefully this doesn't die, then I'll add your name twice. If you refer a friend, name on. Again, this is Giovanni, the Movie Canon YouTube channel, and this is my little brother Matthew. And we are going to review the last film of Phase 4 of the MCU, which is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So let's go and begin and start talking about the positives. Should we start with the positives, Matthew, or the negatives? What do you think?
I think we should start with the positives, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the positives. And Matthew, do you have any positives already inside your mind yet?
Well, this movie had a very consistent tone, which is rare for Marvel movies. Like, it was serious from start to finish. As a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, you would kind of expect and hope for that.
Yeah.
But there were jokes, but they were appropriately placed, and it wasn't like they wanted you to laugh or anything.
Yeah, it wasn't like Thor and Love and Thunder.
Yeah, it wasn't. There were jokes, but they weren't quippy. That's the word.
Quippy?
Like, they weren't quips.
Okay, all right. So that's some of the positives for you. Some of the positives for me is what you're seeing on the screen, M'Baku. That actually wasn't intentional. I just needed an image for the positives. I actually gathered these images before actually watching the movie. It just kind of worked out that M'Baku was the positives for me in this movie. So that's why I'm just going to start off with that. I wish there was more M'Baku in this movie. He's not in it as much, and I just gonna have to emphasize this again. This is a spoiler review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It just came out last night, like at 7 p.m. or whatever. a lot of people watching it today. So again, this is a spoiler review of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So I'm going to be spoiling a lot of stuff here. So M'Baku was not in the movie that much, not as much as like the first one, but I did want to see more of him, and I think he is one of the positives of this movie. The other thing that I found to be a very positive or a good thing of this film is Angela Bassett as the Queen Ramonda, I believe her name is Queen Ramonda, who is T'Challa's mother, and she becomes queen after the passing of T'Challa. So, I mean, she just looks like a queen. She acts like a queen. Angela Bassett's acting was really great in this movie, and I know there's been already some talk about Oscars for this role, and I think I'm going to agree with that.
Yes.
I do think, at the very least, she'll be nominated for an Oscar, but I think there's a good chance that she might actually win. Depending on the competition and the supporting role this year, but she was definitely really, really good in this film. And again, this is a spoiler review, so she does die in this movie on the hands of Namor. So she does die in this film. So there's a lot of loss in this movie. Obviously T'Challa, but her. So she passes away in this film as well, and that kind of like stirs and starts a whole another wheel thing going on with the whole Black Panther, Wakanda, who's gonna rule and all that stuff. But this is definitely one of the positives of this film. Matthew, do you have any other positives?
Well, back to what you said about M'Baku, I think his name is.
Right.
I
M'Baku,
did,
yeah.
I did like him in this movie. He was huge, like physically large in this movie. He looks like he would be able to beat you in a fight, and he shows it too.
Right, so it looks like he could have beaten T'Challa in the first Black Panther, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so again, this is a spoiler review, and I'm going to stop saying that. Just so you know, this is a spoiler review. So M'Baku, towards the end, he takes the throne. So Shuri doesn't want the throne, so M'Baku takes it. He asks for anyone who wants to challenge him for the throne. But Shuri, I don't know what's Shuri. Shuri, she's the Black Panther in this film, which I have my thoughts on that. But M'Baku takes over. He'll be the king of Wakanda, probably for a decent amount of time. So that's, again, a good positive there. One of the other positive things, which I'm surprised you haven't said this, Matthew, unless you don't agree, is, of course, Namor.
Oh, I do agree.
And that's the actor's name. I believe his actor's name is, I think it's Tenoch Huerta or Tenoch Huerta. So he's a Mexican actor, and he was in the Narco series, Narco Mexico, to be specific. And he plays Namor, or as they call him in the movie, Namor, if you want to pronounce it like that.
The kid
Or
without
as,
love.
or right, or how M'Baku calls him, the Fishman. So Namor is obviously a very strong point in this film. His acting, or the actor's acting in this film, is absolutely great, and the look is, they changed it up. He's more like a Mayan ancestry going on in this version of Namor, and that's not really what it is in the original comic. So they changed that up, and I don't know if I read this or heard, or maybe it's just something that I just kind of figured, is that maybe the MCU Marvel didn't want to have Namor look too much like Aquaman, because he lives underwater too, and then there's Atlantis, so they changed the name of the place, which I think is called Telocan or something like that. Talocan. So that's the name. It's not Atlantis. So that'll be a little bit too familiar with Aquaman, right? So it's like Aquaman, Atlantis. It's just way too familiar. So I think that's where they changed it up. And I think it works. I think it's good. He has his little wings on his ankles, which is something
Interesting.
that's a signature for the character. He flies, he swims, and all that stuff. And I think it worked. I mean, it could have looked really, really cheesy, really bad, but I think it actually worked here. And I mean, you can tell that Namor, the character, he is just trying to protect his people, no matter what. He has the history of the conquistadors, the Spaniards, taking over when he was much younger, with his mother. So there's a little bit of a background story going there, and that was kind of cool to see. So I like that. That's a positive thing there. Matthew, do you have any other positives for Namor?
Well, Namor was just a great villain. I think they gave him a really good like. What's what I'm looking for? Like his desires in this movie. Like in the trailers, it kind of made you think that maybe it wasn't like him that was like in control, because the trailer did make it kind of seem like they were fighting for no reason, like there was something else. But I think they did do good with like his desires and wants to protect his city, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the underground or the
Yeah,
underwater world.
where he wants to protect it at literally all costs, which
Yeah,
would be killing everyone else on Earth.
yeah, no matter what. So the motivation. So obviously, a good villain has to have some pretty good motivations. He has some good motivations here. Sometimes you agree with the things that he is, his philosophies and so on. So all that stuff makes sense to me. Um, any other positives on Namor, or any just in general?
I like the theme of revenge in this movie with Shuri, and your first like hint of that is when she goes to the ancestral plane and you see Killmonger, which his desires were more in line with her desires of, he wanted vengeance for his dad that was killed by T'Chaka, I think his name is,
Yeah,
and just how Shuri wants revenge for her mother that was killed by Namor.
yeah,
So I think they kind of didn't go with the trope of, oh, I can't let revenge control me. It kind of just like happened less how do I say it, less like it happened because it had to happen, not because like, oh, people are telling her like you can't do that. Like no one really ever told her like you can't kill him. It was kind of just like her own personal decision that she made.
okay. So yeah, so it was like a whole thing about revenge, and that was kind of expected. The whole thing with Killmonger, because I mean I didn't hear that he was going to be in it, but he has worked with director Ryan Coogler a lot. I think every time he's directed a film, I think Michael B. Jordan was in it. So if they were gonna bring him in this film, it was a good way to bring him. He has a very short scene, I think this was more like a little cameo going on there. So they used him well for what they needed to use him for. So that was fine. But were you actually expecting to see Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, yeah. At first, I thought when they went to the ancestral plane and I saw that they're in the throne room, I thought, oh, okay, I guess they're not going with that, because you saw someone sitting and you were expecting it to be the queen, but then it was actually Killmonger, and I was happy about that. But it was something that I was expecting,
Okay.
because they couldn't exactly have T'Challa be there, so they had to
Right.
get around that somehow.
Yeah. Another positive thing here is, Okoye, and we'll talk a lot about the Queen already, but Okoye is always a very important character in the Black Panther Wakanda universe, and she has a little bit more stuff to do in this film. She loses her status. She kind of failed when it comes to protecting Shuri, if you want to see it that way. And I remember when I was watching that scene where when they have that attack in that was in Boston, right, in Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
That attack that they had on the street there with the telecon people pop up there with whales and all that shit. And then they attack her Okoye, and then she was actually a challenge, and vice versa, uh, for the character. I never actually caught his name.
I
It's
don't
like
think he was. Oh, I think they did mention it one time. And that was it.
yeah, yeah. It's one of Namor's like top generals, like one of them, and he was actually a challenge for Okoye. So that was kind of interesting to see because Okoye usually like taking everyone out without like any
With ease.
sweat. Yeah, exactly at ease, just very easily takes care of everyone. So that was kind of interesting to see, and so that was cool. And then she was like demoted, and it was like when that happened though, when like oh the kidnapper is like, I was like oh yeah, I guess when we really think about what has happened in the MCU when it comes to Wakanda, like there's a lot of stuff that has happened under her watch, but it's kind of like out of her
Control.
control because like she was with T'Challa when the snap happens, and technically she loses him, and I think she doesn't she get snapped too.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. Okay, I don't remember if she got snapped or not, but I do remember that she was like uh, like oh shit when T'Challa was getting snapped, and it was like under her watch too. So it was like there's that, and now they kidnap Shuri, and so it's just like I was like, yeah, I guess it makes sense what the queen is saying. That's I'm gonna demote you. You're no longer a general or whatever. Um, so yeah, so that's another positive thing. I like the underwater world, kind of
Yes.
like the way I liked Atlantis and Aquaman. It's kind of cool. They did change it up a bit from Aquaman. It is a little different. Um, they're riding the whales and everything. That was pretty cool, and it just looked very 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 good. Did you have any problems with the look of the underwater world? What is it called? Talokan?
Talokan.
Talokan?
No, honestly, I think all the visuals in this movie were really good. Like you never saw any like clear cut corners in this movie, at least visually. Like every scene had its purpose, and it never really looked like unfinished, like the floating kid in Thor.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, is there any other positives?
um, well, I do think that. Actually, I'm not sure.
All right, so let's see here. So, I'm trying to think if there's any other positives that I'm not thinking of. How about maybe we have to just move on to the negatives?
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the negatives for now. And then if we remember about some more positives, then we'll go back to that. The negatives. So let's see here. Okay, so it's definitely a little too long.
Yeah.
It definitely could have been, cut out a good chunk of it. Although it didn't feel super long like some other movies, but it didn't need to be this long for sure. It was like 2 hours and 41 minutes or so on,
Damn.
and so that's pretty long. I mean, there was a lot of story. There's a lot of things that they had to go over. Um, but yeah, just it could have been much shorter than this. So that's one of the negatives there. Um, how about would Shuri qualify as something of the negatives, Matthew, or did you like Shuri in this?
Well, not entirely her character, more like the whole thing with her becoming Black Panther kind of came out of nowhere
Yeah,
towards the end.
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of like I mean I've heard and read about that Shuri will probably be the next Black Panther, and I think it was in the comics briefly or something.
Yeah.
Um, so I wasn't a huge fan of Shuri becoming Black Panther only because of the well, for a couple things. For one, her character didn't seem like one that she would be Black Panther. Um, but then again, we understand the circumstances of this story that
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman passed away, and then Marvel didn't want to recast T'Challa or recast T'Challa. So now they need a new Black Panther. So it's like, who's it going to be? So Shuri, I guess Shuri will be the next one. Um, I don't think that she necessarily would. Um, Actually, let me just check on something. Hold on a sec. Hold on a moment. Okay, so we're back here, and I guess there was a little bit of like static going on here. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe because we're outside, maybe it's the wind or something. But we're gonna just try to like finish this here. So again, we're at the negatives here, and I was talking about Shuri, right? And yeah, so the whole thing seemed kind of forced. Like I understand you need to have a new Black Panther in this story. The other girl in this story, played by Lupita Nyong'o, I think her name is Nakia. She would have been a good Black Panther. Like I would believe that one more, but then her story arc doesn't really fit with what's going on here, especially with what happens at the end. In the was that a mid credit scene? So yeah, when she comes back and goes to talk to Shuri about when she was doing the what is it, like the little ritual, yeah, the ritual thing, and Nakia brings a little boy like 6-7 years old and reveals that, oh, that's T'Challa's son, whose also name is T'Challa. So
Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa.
yeah, so I mean, there's that. So I mean, I guess I understand why Nakia couldn't really be Black Panther, because now she's the mother of T'Challa's son. So that story wouldn't work unless they just went on a completely different route. And then the Queen, I would say I don't think she could have been Black Panther, even if she drank the little.
Yeah, she was showing signs of aging.
Yeah, so I mean that's why she wouldn't pick her. So I understand why they picked Shuri, but I just like didn't really.
Yeah,
I never really bought her being Black Panther, and it doesn't seem like she's gonna stay Black Panther. It's kind of like, this is the Black Panther that we need for this
for now
sequel, yes. And so we'll see what happens. There's T'Challa's son, also named T'Challa. I'm sure the next Black Panther, they're probably gonna have him to somehow go to Wakanda and become king and become, Black Panther, and then we'll have T'Challa again as Black Panther, even though it's not the original T'Challa.
Yeah, it was a way of recasting him in a more respectful manner, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. So so again, the Shuri thing, I don't have an issue. Like, I like the character of Shuri, when it's not related to her being Black Panther.
Yeah.
I just like the character. I think a lot of people like the character. Her being, what do they call her, like a lab rat, smart tech girl, and all that stuff. So I mean, that's cool, man. I like that. I just wasn't a huge fan of her being Black Panther. But like I said, I also understand the circumstances. So it is what it is. So Any other negatives, Matthew?
Well, like you were saying with Shuri, like you said, like you like her when it's unrelated to Black Panther, and I had said that I liked her story arc with revenge and the theme of it, but I did not like how she became Black Panther for the sole reason of being strong enough to kill Namor, which she did confess to Killmonger, saying that that was the only reason that she became Black Panther, because Black Panther should is supposed to be well, like a symbol of hope and a protector for Wakanda.
So that's kind of like a contradictory,
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah. So, like I said, it just seemed kind of forced, right?
yeah.
Through different ways, different channels, or whatever. Um, let's see what else. Any other negatives that you can think of, Matthew? Where it talked about the length, Shuri becoming Black Panther. Um, what else? I thought there would have been
Oh,
more
that
negatives.
that I forgot the name of the girl with the purple strand of hair that keeps showing up in these Marvel stuff. I'm not really a fan of that.
Uh, which one is it? One of the.
It's the American lady that's
Oh, you're talking about Julie Louis Dreyfus.
yeah.
I think her name is
Yeah,
Valentina,
Valentina. Some,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the leader of the
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Yeah.
I get like they're trying to set up that whole thing, but she's literally been in everything, and like it kind of seemed like they just wanted her in there for the sole reason of her being in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way about her. I mean, obviously, it is more like setting up the whole Thunderbolts thing
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, there was something. It's kind of like
Oh.
this outfit. The I forgot what they're called. This Midnight Angel
The predator
outfit.
looking outfit.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, or like Cyrax from Mortal Kombat.
There literally is a scene where it looks like straight out of Predator,
Yeah,
like with
so
the
this
eyes.
this look is really ugly, and
Yeah.
they even mentioned that in the movie. Like, can you make it look like less ugly or something like that? It's really ugly, and I think it's pretty accurate to the comic. It just looks like even worse when it's live action.
Yeah.
So
It's very Power Ranger villain esque.
yeah, it looks very cheesy,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's a negative. But like I said,
I think it was the point, but
yeah, and like I said, they bring it up. I was like, yeah, it's pretty ugly looking, and I think it's pretty accurate to the comic. If
I
I
think they
understand
just
that.
had it so they could give a reason that Okoye could get the upper hand on that warrior person mentioned earlier, because it was clear that he was like a lot stronger than her.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. How about this film being the last of Phase 4?
Well, honestly, I didn't really think of it like the last film of Phase 4. It wasn't. This phase wasn't really meant to like be one theme. It was more of introducing new characters. That's what Phase 4 was to me, at least. With like Shang-Chi, that was introducing a new character. Thor: Love and Thunder was setting up Thor and Love, which was her name, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then Black Widow, of course, was to set up the Thunderbolts and Yelena,
Yeah.
and just all the other Disney Plus shows, all just set up. So I don't really. This movie, not that it doesn't fit in with Phase 4, because it does introduce Riri Williams and the future of Wakanda, but I'm not really thinking of it as like an end of this phase.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, when they said that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is going to be the last MCU film of Phase 4.
Triple or something, I don't know, but it's a lot,
Yeah.
and not. I want to say most of it was mediocre at best,
Yes.
which is sad.
So I think the stream might have died,
Oh.
but we'll see. Let me just check something real quick here. Okay, so I'm definitely not gonna do these streams outside anymore, cause
Especially in this cold weather.
yeah, there's an issue with the fucking
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi thing.
Oh well.
Oh, did it end?
Mayhaps.
I'm just trying to check if the stream is still even going on, cause I think it might have died.
No, it's still
Oh,
awake.
we're still live right now.
We're still
Okay.
live right now, yes.
All right. So yeah, so we're not gonna do these outside anymore because this is an issue. So we're gonna just try to finish this off here. Okay. So let's go back to the our final thoughts here. Well, I was kind of getting into that already, but so Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is not the best film of Phase 4. It's not better than the first film. It is a bit of a step down. There's a lot of positives. We talked a lot of positives, but there's definitely some negatives in there.
I think this film wouldn't be really comparable to the first Black Panther film, and the way that they're like extremely different, and they both are trying different things. So I wouldn't say it was worse than the first one because I wouldn't really consider them like I wouldn't consider this a sequel to that. I would more consider this as a response to Chadwick Boseman's death and like
Yeah, because it's. I mean,
addressing how they're gonna.
yeah, because what happened with Chadwick Boseman is something that was not expected, so it did affect this movie. So you do have to consider that too, and I am factoring that in there. But overall, this is the movie that we got, and I'll just grade it based on what we have, but also knowing the circumstances. So. So as far as the grade, are you ready for your grade, Matthew?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get to the page here. Okay, so we're gonna start with your grade first, Matthew. So this is Matthew's grade, which is a B plus.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that, Matthew?
Well, I think in terms of the grade, it was up there, but it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was on par with Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I would give an A plus. But I do think it's like there's a marginal line between the two films, so that's why I gave it a B plus. But I do think it served its purpose and it was a good film. So yeah.
All right, so my grade is a B, a solid B. The first Black Panther film, I gave it an A minus. So I think this grade is a nice, solid grade. And in the world of the movie canons, see it, stream it, or skip it, this is, of course, a see it.
Yes.
It is definitely a see it. I would watch this in theaters.
Yes.
I definitely want to wait until it comes on Disney Plus, which it will soon enough. But this is a
Like a
good
month.
movie to watch in theaters, so this is definitely a see it. And this is a see it for you, I'm guessing, Matthew, since
Yeah.
your grade is higher than mine.
Yeah.
So that's what we got there. Any other final thoughts before we end this stream here for Black Panther?
But yeah, we did kind of not mention the whole Ironheart thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah, that's like a big a plot line too.
I do think her character was really likable, and the way they set up that she didn't keep the extremely high-tech Iron Man suit that she made in Wakanda. I did like
okay.
that because obviously you can't, in her own show, she just can't have this monster of a suit. She has to be able to, make it on her own.
Yeah, I mean, I had no issues with her. I mean, it doesn't like really super excite me to watch the series, but it doesn't also discourage me
Yeah.
on watching it either. Like Echo, the Echo character that they introduced in Hawkeye.
Yeah, at first
It's not like that.
At first, I was a little on the same with Echo and Ironheart, the shows. I was just like, oh, these don't really. I don't really care for them, but I'll watch them anyways. For Ironheart, for War Machine, of course, and then Echo, of course, having Daredevil.
Yeah.
But now this does kind of elevate it more for me. I'm actually somewhat interested. I'm not exactly like hyped, but it does make me more interested in seeing it.
Yeah, and I feel like we're missing something else. Is there anything else that we haven't mentioned, perhaps, that we should have brought up?
We talked about Namor.
Yeah, we talked about Namor, the Queen, Shuri,
about
Ironheart. Yeah, Killmonger. Um, just very quickly, um, explaining how T'Challa passed
Oh
away.
yeah.
It was just like a virus or like an illness, as they called it. He just died of an illness, which is what happened to the actor. So I don't know if they were gonna like try to like do like him die in battle or something like that. Like it'll open with Black Panther fighting something and then he gets killed. I thought maybe they'll do something like that, but no, they just did something
Yeah, they definitely could have,
simple.
especially with him wearing a mask and everything. I do think
Yeah,
if they went with the battle route, you couldn't have had like such a. It wouldn't have been as dramatically like heavy because obviously you'd want him to have like final words and like all this stuff, and you can't really have that when your main lead can't give lines.
yeah, yeah. So I mean that's fine. I mean, like I said, that's how the actor dies. So they explained that perfectly fine, and it was like right away. And then they had the Marvel
Oh
logo
yeah, it's
with
just him.
Chadwick Boseman, which I think they've used before on Disney Plus,
For What If, I think. I
or
think they've
one
used
of
him on that.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they showed that, so they showed that here too. So I was like, yeah, that very fitting. And anything else that we might have forgotten for this spoiler review of Black Panther?
Well, there was the colonizer, they called him, the white guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
He was in the first Black Panther movie a lot
yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah. He was. I thought it'd be in it more, but I guess
Yeah.
they just wanted to focus on the.
He was really just there to warn the queen that, oh, the Americans are onto you, which that never really ended up becoming anything.
At least not yet.
Yeah,
So
like yeah, that's true. Not
yeah,
yet.
yeah. So they'll definitely get it. I mean, there's some stuff that kind of like started or whatever, but it'll grow better. It'll grow more, especially with the whole Thunderbolts thing. Maybe the
Yeah.
Thunderbolts movie is related to Wakanda. I don't know.
It could be, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I mean it could. Yeah, because we have the actress, the girl from Seinfeld, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, I believe. That's her name. So yeah, I'm sure they'll do something with that. Anything else, Matthew, before we close this spoiler review?
Well, I am glad they didn't kill Namor because he is a very important. Well, not too important, but he's important in Marvel.
Yeah.
Definitely where he could have another appearance in maybe his own movie potentially, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
But
because I think in the comic, isn't he like a villain first and later he's more like a good guy?
yeah,
or like
he's a superhero.
anti-hero?
He was a superhero at first. I'm pretty sure. Like he was one of the first Marvel superheroes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recall much of that, but I know he's been like good, bad.
He's definitely more villainous than he usually is.
Mm.
That's why I was more surprised with how involved the conflict was. There wasn't a third party or anything. Like people were thinking maybe Doom was behind everything.
Oh,
Which,
okay, yeah, Doctor Doom. Yeah, so there was no Doctor Doom in this movie, so there was no.
There was no Giancarlo Esposito as Doctor Doom.
Yeah, yeah. So there wasn't like a big. There was not like a big spoiler. Not a spoiler.
Nope.
Post-credit
Yeah.
scene talking. Going into Phase 5. Not really, unless you want to talk about Ironheart. So there wasn't something like huge. They actually don't have a very last post-credit scene. They only have a mid-credit scene, so you don't have to stick around to the very end if you're actually watching this spoiler review, and you actually haven't seen it. So yeah, so it just stuck to the whole Wakanda thing, so it was fine.
This movie is similar to Endgame in the way that it doesn't really tell us what's happening in the next phase moving forward. It just kind of leaves us a little in the dark, I guess. But I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's fine. It doesn't really have to tease like Mephisto or King or anything.
Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Let me just advertise the Funko Pop giveaway again here. So it's open. I need 15 entries to activate the Funko Pop giveaway. Must have a mailing address within the United States, be a subscriber to this channel, or follower of the Instagram page. There's some instructions in the Instagram post, and then I'll put some here too after the stream. So 15 entries, and then I'll activate it. So that's pretty much it. So thank you, Matthew, for this for joining me for this spoiler review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Of course.
There was an issue with the connection at the beginning of the stream. That's what took me forever to get started here, and
an hour delay.
then the mic seems to be some kind of an issue too. So yeah, so I'm probably not going to be able to do these things outside anymore because there's either an issue with the connection or the camera or the mic. So I get better results inside, I guess. So that's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for the ones who watched live, and if you guys watch this later on, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do a lot of giveaways and there's future content coming, and follow me on Instagram, which is at the movie canon. I do have a Twitter too, but I'm not there that often, but it's also at the movie canon, but I do have one. So that's it. Anything else you want to add, Matthew?
Well, you can also follow my Instagram and YouTube, both at Matthew, MATTHOOH.
Okay.
But
yeah,
and my
that's
Twitter
right.
if you want, I guess, by the same name.
Oh, that's right. You do have an Instagram page too, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So Matthew has an Instagram page too. So there you go. All right. So that's it. So thank you guys, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.